Reading to the Bible in a year, December 23rd. 2nd Chronicles, chapters 27 through 28, Revelation 14, Zechariah 10, and John 13. Jotham was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did what was right in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father Uzziah had done. However, he did not enter the temple of Yahweh, but the people continued acting corruptly. He built the upper gate of the house of Yahweh, and he built extensively the wall of Ophel. Moreover, he built cities in the hill country of Judah, and he built fortresses and towers on the wooded hills. He fought also with the kings of the king of the sons of Ammon, and prevailed over them. So the sons of Ammon gave him during that year 100 talents of silver, 10,000 cores of wheat, and 10,000 of barley. The sons of Ammon also brought back to him this amount in the second and in the third year. So Jotham became strong because he established his ways before Yahweh his God. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham, even all his wars and his ways, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Ahaz his son became king in his place. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And he did not do what was right in the sight of Yahweh, as David his father had done. But he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. And he also made molten images for the Baals. Moreover, he offered offerings in smoke in the valley of Ben Hinnom, and burned his sons in the fire, according to the abominations of the nations whom Yahweh had dispossessed from before the sons of Israel. He also sacrificed and offered offerings in smoke on the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. So Yahweh his God gave him into the hand of the king of Aram. And they struck him, and carried away from him a great number of captives, and brought them to Damascus. And he was also given into the hand of the king of Israel, who struck him with a great slaughter. Indeed, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, killed in Judah 120,000 in one day, all men of valor, because they had forsaken Yahweh, the God of their fathers. And Zechri, a mighty man of Ephraim, killed Maaseiah, the king's son, and Azrikam, the ruler of the house, and Elkanah, the second to the king. Then the sons of Israel carried away captive of their brothers 200,000 women, sons, and daughters. And they plundered also a great deal of spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. But a prophet of Yahweh was there, whose name was Oded. And he went out before the army which came to Samaria, and said to them, Behold, because of the wrath of Yahweh, the God of your fathers, against Judah, he has given them into your hand, and you have killed them in a rage which has even reached heaven. So now, are you intending to subdue for yourselves the people of Judah and Jerusalem, for male and female slaves? Surely you do not have your own matters of guilt. Surely do you not have your own matters of guilt against Yahweh your God? So now, listen to me, and return the captives whom you carried away from your brothers, for the burning anger of Yahweh is against you. Then some of the heads of the sons of Ephraim, Azariah the son of Johanan, Berechiah the son of Meshillemoth, Jehezekiah the son of Shallum, and Amasa the son of Hadlai, rose against those who were coming from the engagement of the army, and said to them, You must not bring the captives in here, for you are intending to bring upon us guilt against Yahweh, adding to our sins and our guilt. For our guilt is great, so that his burning anger is against Israel. So the armed men left the captives and the plunder before the commanders and all the assembly. Then the men who were designated by name arose, took hold of the captives, and they clothed all their naked ones from the spoil, and they gave them clothes and sandals. fed them and gave them drink, anointed them with oil, led all the feeble ones on donkeys, and brought them to Jericho, the city of palm trees, to their brothers. Then they returned to Samaria. At that time, King Ahaz sent to the kings of Assyria for help. Indeed, again the Edomites had come and struck Judah and carried away captives. And the Philistines also had raided the cities of the Shephelah and of the Negev of Judah, and had captured Beth Shemesh, Aijalon, Gederoth, and Soko with its towns, Timnah with its towns, and Gizmo with its towns, and they settled there. For Yahweh humbled Judah because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he had caused it to be out of control in Judah, and was very unfaithful to Yahweh. So Tiglath-Pileser, or Tiglath-Pilneser, king of Assyria, came against him and distressed him instead of strengthening him. Although Ahaz took a portion of the house of Yahweh and out of the house of the king and of the princes, and gave it to the king of Assyria, it did not help him. Now, in the time of his distress, this same King Ahaz became yet more unfaithful to Yahweh. Indeed, he sacrificed to the gods of Damascus, which had struck him, and said, "Because the gods of the kings of Aram help them, I will sacrifice to them that they may help me." But they became stumbling of him and all Israel. But they became the stumbling of him and all Israel. Ahaz gathered together the utensils of the house of God. Then he cut the utensils of the house of God in pieces. And he closed the doors of the house of Yahweh, and made altars for himself in every corner of Jerusalem. Now, in each and every city of Judah, he made high places to offer offerings and smoke to other gods, and provoke Yahweh, the God of his fathers, to anger. Now, the rest of his acts, and all of his ways, from first to last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. So Ahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city, in Jerusalem, for they did not bring him into the tombs of the kings of Israel. And Hezekiah, his son, became king in his place. We'll read about good King Hezekiah tomorrow. Now, Revelation 14. Again, if you have questions, concerns, please read the notes. Then I looked, and behold, the Lamb was standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his Father written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the sound of many waters, and like the sound of loud thunder. And the voice which I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. And they sang a new song before the throne, before the 4 living creatures and the elders. And no one could learn that song except the 144,000 who had been purchased from the earth. These are the ones who are not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been purchased from among men as firstfruits to God and to the Lamb. And no lie was found in their mouths. They are blameless. Then I saw another angel flying in mid-heaven, having an eternal gospel to proclaim to those who inhabit the earth, and to every nation and tribe and tongue and people. And he said with a loud voice, "Fear God and give him glory, because the hour of his judgment has come. Worship him who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and the springs of waters." Another angel, a second one, followed, saying, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, she who has made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her sexual immorality." Then another angel, a third one, followed them, saying with a loud voice, "If anyone worships the beast in his image, and receives a mark on his forehead or on his hand, and he also will drink the wine of the wrath of God, which is mixed in full strength in the cup of his rage. And he will be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. They have no rest day and night, those who worship the beast and his image, and who receive the mark of his name. Here is the perseverance of the saints who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on." "Yes," says the Spirit, "so that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds follow with them." Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud was one like a son of man, having a golden crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the sanctuary, crying out with a loud voice to him who sits on the cloud, "Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, because the harvest of the earth is ripe." Then he who sits on the cloud swung his sickle over the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the sanctuary, which is in heaven, and he also had a sharp sickle. Then another angel, the one who had authority over fire, came out from the altar. And he called with a loud voice to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, "Put in your sharp sickle and gather the cluster of the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe." So the angel swung his sickle to the earth and gathered the clusters of the vine of the earth and threw them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horse's bridle for a distance of 1,600 stadia, or about 184 miles. Now Zechariah chapter 10. Ask rain from Yahweh at the time of the late rain, Yahweh, who makes the storm clouds, and he will give them showers of rain, the plant in the field to each man. For the teraphim speak wickedness, and the diviners behold false visions, and speak worthless dreams. They comfort in vain. Therefore the people journey like sheep. They are afflicted, because there is no shepherd. My anger burns against the shepherds, and I will visit punishment upon the male goats. For Yahweh of hosts has visited his flock, the house of Judah, and will make them like his splendid horse in battle. From them will come the cornerstone, from them the tent peg, from them the bow of battle, from them every good taskmaster, all of them together. And they will be as mighty men, treading down the enemy in the mire of the streets in battle. And they will battle, for Yahweh will be with them, and the riders on horses will be put to shame. I will make the house of Judah mighty, and I will save the house of Joseph, and I will cause them to return, because I have had compassion on them. And they will be as though I had not rejected them, for I am Yahweh their God, and I will answer them. And Ephraim will be like a mighty man, and their heart will be glad as if from wine. Indeed, their children will see it and be glad. Their heart will rejoice in Yahweh. I will whistle for them to gather them together, for I have redeemed them. They will be as numerous as they were before. And I will sow them among the peoples, and they will remember me in far countries. And they with their children will live and turn back. Then I will cause them to return to the land of Egypt, and gather them from Assyria, and I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, until no room can be found for them. They will pass through the sea of distress, and he will strike the waves of the sea, so that all the depths of the Nile will dry up. And the pride of Assyria will be brought down, and the scepter of Egypt will depart. Then I will make them mighty in Yahweh, and in his name they will walk, declares Yahweh. Including today in John 13. Again, questions, concerns, there's a lot of notes through this area. Now, before the feast of the Passover, Jesus, knowing that his hour had come and that he would depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, He loved them to the end. And during supper, the devil, having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come forth from God and was going back to God, got up from supper and laid aside his garments, and taking a towel, he tied it around himself. Then he poured water into the wash basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel which he had tied around himself. Again, this is an act that the lowest slave would typically handle. Verse 6. So he came to Simon Peter, and he said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus answered and said to him, What I am doing you do not realize now, but you will understand afterwards. And Peter said to him, You will never wash my feet, ever. Jesus answered him, If I do not wash you, you have no part with me. Simon Peter then said to him, Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, He who has bathed needs only to wash his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you. For he knew the one who was betraying him. For this reason he said, Not all of you are clean. So when he had washed his feet and taken his garments and reclined at the table again, he said to them, Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, the Lord and the teacher, washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I give you an example, so that you should do as I did to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a slave is not greater than his master, nor is the one who is sent greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them. I do not speak about all of you. I know the ones I have chosen, but that Scripture may be fulfilled, he who eats my bread has lifted up his heel against me. From now on, I am telling you before it occurs, so that when it does occur, you may believe that I am he, the Messiah. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who receives anyone I send receives me, and he who receives me receives him who sent me. When Jesus had said these things, he became troubled in spirit and bore witness and said, Truly, truly, I say to you, that one of you will betray me. The disciples began looking at one another, perplexed about whom he spoke. And there was reclining on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. This is John's way of referring to himself. So Simon Peter gestured to him to inquire, Who is the one of whom he is speaking? He, leaning back thus on Jesus' bosom, said to him, Lord, who is it? Jesus answered, He is the one for whom I shall dip the piece of bread and give it to him. So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he took it and gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot. And after the piece of bread, Satan then entered into him. Therefore Jesus said to him, What you do quickly. Now, no one of those reclining at table knew for what purpose he had said this to him. For some were thinking, because Judas had the money box, that Jesus was saying to him, Buy the things we have need of for the feast, or else that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he went out immediately, and it was night. Therefore, when he had gone out, Jesus said, Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him immediately. Little children, I am with you a little while longer. You will seek me, and, as I said to the Jews, now I also say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this, all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, where are you going? Jesus answered, Where I go, you cannot follow me now, but you will follow later. Peter said to him, Lord, why can I not follow you right now? I will lay down my life for you. Jesus answered, Will you lay down your life for me? Truly, truly, I say to you, a rooster will not crow until you deny me 3 times. That is all the reading. That is also all of the notes for today. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.